What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, I'm going to be reading my cringy story that I wrote freshman year for an assignment. Are these like 25,000 words? So I'm probably going to make this series. So, I'm just going to read, I'm probably just going to read chapter 1 and chapter 2. So, let's get started. So, this story is called Stuck in the Dark Wood. Chapter 1. Today is such an exciting day, my brother yelled. I can't wait to go camping in the woods. I told him, now wait just a second, sir. You have to get to packing. You don't want to forget anything. I know, Kimber. I'm going to pack right now, Bobby said. Then he rolled his eyes at me as he walked towards our house. It wasn't very nice, but it had some good qualities. The house was faded with age. The light blue paint was peeling off the house. It had a perfect picket fence that draped around the front lawn. At some point, we had roses in our front yard, but those were long gone now. We had ripped them up after our mom died. We planted them by her grave to never forget her. Well, our father was packing the truck with camping supplies. I walked back into the house to grab my things. When I walked through the front door, all I saw was the mess in the kitchen and, of course, my brother playing trucks on the floor. He had made this mess. I'm sure of it. Hey, sis, what you doing? Bobby said with a sly smile on his face. Oh, just waiting for you to clean up this mess of cars all over the kitchen, I retorted. With the sound of that, I started taking his cars and placed them back in the bins which they belonged. I wanted to go get Dad, but I insisted that he help clean up this mess. Bobby never liked cleaning. He always made the mess, then left it for others to clean up. At times, I just couldn't stand him. I never understood why Dad let him do that. But then again, Dad didn't care much about what we did. He would sit on the couch and watch TV, not taking care of us. I was the one who made the dinners, did the laundry, and cleaned the house. I felt bad for Dad. He changed a lot after Mom died. He didn't find joy in things anymore. At some point in time, he just didn't want to go to work. But I always pushed him. I told him, Dad, if you don't go to work and make money, then how are we going to live? I don't want to be homeless. How do you think Bobby would feel if we got kicked out of our home? He'd always make some dumb remark like, well, we still have the money right now. It won't matter if I just skip one day of work. That always made me mad. I wanted him to work so we could survive, so Bobby could live a good life. But this was years ago. My father was starting to become happy again, so I convinced my dad to go on a trip. We decided to go somewhere far out in the woods. We were going on a week-long camping trip in the Appalachian Mountains. My dad loved the outdoors, so he agreed that a camping trip would be fun. So he wrangled the three of us to help clean the house and pack our things. Hey guys, my dad yelled from outside. Are you almost ready to go? Yes, Dad, I just have to finish cleaning up the kitchen, I yelled back. So I made Bobby clean up all his toy cars. While I was doing that, I walked around the house to unplug things like the TV, the heaters, and the fans. When I returned to the kitchen, Bobby was done picking up his toys. We then both went outside to get in our dad's blue Ford F-150. It was old and rusty, but it had this charm. It was outdated, but it still worked. I call shotgun, Bobby yelled, as if his life was dependent on it. So Bobby got to sit in the front. I was honestly kind of mad. But now that Bobby was old and tall enough to sit in the front seat, he had been sitting there all the time. So I got in the back, which was full of camping gear. It was very cramped back there. I had just enough room to fit. The other seat was lifted, and the tent box of food were placed there. I brought a pillow so I could lay my head on the boxes if I so wanted. By that point, I heard Dad close the tailgate. He got in the truck, and then it started. We pulled out of our long, warped driveway, and off we went to the camping spot. I had told him about it right around the time someone had disappeared. Chapter 2. I was so tired from packing on that morning that I decided just to take a nap in the truck. So I grabbed my pillow, laid my head down, closed my eyes, and was waiting for sleep to overcome me. When all of a sudden, I had the urge to sit back up. So I sat back up. At that point, I was over the idea of trying to sleep. I looked out the window to see it was pitch black outside. And I know for sure we left at 3 p.m., so there was no way it could be this dark out. Next thing I know, I see a flash of white in my peripheral vision. So I whipped my head towards the window for a split second, and I could have sworn I saw an all-white thing on all fours. I wasn't sure if I could trust what I saw. After all, it might have just been a tree. I then remember having my phone in my pocket when I laid down. So I checked my pocket, only to discover that my phone was nowhere to be found. I reminded myself that, well, maybe it just fell on the floor. So I looked towards the floor when I suddenly realized that I was not in my dad's truck anymore. I was in the back row of a bus. This bus smelled musty and dank, almost like an earthy smell, but there was something off about it. The leather in the seat was cracked and old. This bus was moving on a small dirt road. I was so confused, as I was just in a truck about what seemed like only 10 seconds ago. Then I had a sudden thought. Did I get kidnapped? It sounded reasonable, since I wasn't in a truck anymore, but there was no way. How would my dad react to the idea that I got kidnapped? He would most likely become depressed again, and my brother might be taken away. I was starting to think all these thoughts when I remembered, I shouldn't think like this. I needed to be strong and get out of this mess. At that moment, the bus started slowing down and screeched to a halt. I tried to stand up, only to realize I was chained to my seat. I was struggling to get out when I heard this voice from outside the bus. "Hey, Kimber, will you let me in?" It said. It sounded like me. In fact, it was my voice. I froze. That can't be me. It couldn't be. I was the only person who had a voice like me. I didn't have a twin. I just sat there in silence with my heart in my throat. When I heard a loud bang on top of the bus roof, I was still frozen out of fear. I didn't dare move a muscle, as whatever was out there had to be bad news. Whatever thing that was on the roof started scratching at the roof. It was a horrible sound, almost like nails on a chalkboard. I started seeing the roof starting to dent from the creature's powerful claws. At that point, I knew I had to escape. I grabbed the chain covering my chest. I just merely pulled it lightly, and it somehow turned to rust. I was about to stop when I realized I needed to keep trying to move the chains. Then I grabbed one around my waist, and the same thing happened. It just turned to rust and disintegrated. There were chains on my legs, so I grabbed at them, and they also turned to rust. I ran to the back of the bus. I grabbed at the door, but it wouldn't budge. The bus roof suddenly cracked and creaked, and the creature fell through the roof with a horrible screech. I took a good long look at it. It had to be over 8 feet tall. It was humanoid. It was definitely not human. It had piercing blue eyes, and its body was all white, with long spindly fingers. Also, for some reason, it wore the pelt of a mountain lion. It had a belt of some kind with weird trinkets wrapped around it. It stared at me and then stood on its long, skinny legs. This thing towered over me. I looked happy that I was trying so desperately to open the door. Then it spoke. "Hey, Kimber, come here. I need to tell you something," it said in my crush's voice. No one knew who my crush was, not even my dad, and he knew all the drama. My crush was someone named Devin. He was so dreamy. I got his number a while ago. We text, but we don't talk in person. He is 5 foot, 2 inches. He has black hair and is skinny for his height. His face was round with freckles. He had a bowl cut and he wore mostly black, but he was so dreamy. I named him Lexi on my phone so that no one would suspect I had a guy's number. A few weeks ago, he went missing. I tried texting him and calling him, but he wouldn't answer. I was devastated, so I wanted to help find him, but the police forbade me from going. I was determined to find him on my own, so this was the whole reason I planned this trip, so maybe I could find him. I started having a crush on him around the end of our school play. At first, I thought he was weird, but I came to like him. He was nice and a little strange like me, so we both kind of grew to like each other. But it was summer now, school was out for the year, and I had started feeling alone. I tried dancing with him at the school dance, but he just stood very far away from me and didn't even acknowledge that I was there. I was so sad that night I cried myself to sleep. But I knew at least I had a chance next year. I thought at the time, but now he was missing and his family was hurting. I wanted to be the one to bring him back and show the police I could help, since they were just about ready to give up. The monster was drawing nearer to me. It took one step at a time, like a cat hunting for its prey. I thought for a moment, is this how Devin ended up missing? Did the creature take him? Then in a voice I've never heard, it spoke. "Do you want to play Fox and Hounds?" No thanks. Can you please just let me go?" I pleaded. "No, you're going to play the game and you're going to like it. Here are the rules. 1, if you see this bottle of powder on my belt, you're going to take it and run. But you must leave a clear trail for the hounds to follow. 2 of the fox, which is you, will get a 10-minute head start to try and run away. 3, whoever are the hounds will be loud and you will be able to hear them. And finally, 4, the only way to survive is if you can either outrun the hounds to the stairs in the woods, or you can find a man looking for Bell's Canyon. It's your choice. Pick wisely. It bellowed. Then I set the squeezed bottle of powder on the floor of the bus and walked off, very casually, as if it didn't just scare the crap out of me. I was scared out of my right mind. What did it mean when it said, find the man who was looking for Bell's Canyon? Who was that? I thought about how my dad would react if I didn't make it back. He would most likely fall into a depression and Bobby would be alone with me. Now that was a scary thought. So I pushed it to the back of my mind that I decided right then and there I would do anything to get to see them again, even if it meant doing something drastic. That's when it hit me. A while back, my dad went on a camping trip with my older brother. They slept in the woods in the middle of the night, and a man started walking around their campsite asking, do you know how to get to Bell's Canyon? In the deepest and most creepiest voice my dad and brother had ever heard. After that, my older brother Steve had enough of the mountains and decided to move in with his long-distance girlfriend. He had never once called us to ask how we were doing after Mom died. In fact, he just acted like he didn't even know us. I don't even know where he is now, but I hope to see him again. But that was such a stupid thought. He definitely hated us. I saw him one time when we were on vacation to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He just glared at us and packed up his things on the beach and left. And whispered, why did you come here? Now that thing will find me. I didn't know what he was talking about, so I just chalked it up to him hating us. So either I could run to the stairs in the middle of the woods or find that creepy man. I thought about it and decided to go find the stairs. I picked up the bottle and held onto it. I walked through the bus and looked at the floor when I saw a strange-looking compass. It was silver and full of scratches. It looked almost like a normal one, but there were only 2 words on it. It said stairs and man, opposite of each other. I flipped it over and it said, think about where you go. The hounds will find you. If they do, you are good as dead. So great. I was either going to die here or make it to the stairs. Just then, I remember the legend of the stairs that happened in one of Michigan's national parks. 2 guys went on a group camping trip with some ranger, and they saw a flight of stairs leading to nowhere. So one of them stepped on it, and the stairs vibrated, and he was like stuck standing there until his friend pulled him off. After that, a bunch of weird and terrifying things happened to them. Long story short, one of the rangers walked through the door that seemingly went to nowhere and disappeared without a trace. So that's what I was in store for. Either awakening something horrible, finding a creepy man that terrorized my father and brother, or die to a pack of quote-unquote hounds. Which I'm not even sure what the hounds were, but I was not going to find out. I put the compass in my pocket, then ran to the front of the bus, opened the door, and got out. I remembered to opening the bottle and put some powder right by the front of the bus. I looked up and saw a clearing. It was about 20 feet by 20 feet. All around me was wilderness. It was pitch black outside, and the woods were silent, which signaled to me that there was a predator nearby. I grabbed my compass and decided to head towards the one that said man. It pointed straight ahead of me, so I made a line of powder about 4 feet long, and then ran into the woods. I don't know how long it had been, but I was feeling really drowsy. I was so tired that I couldn't walk anymore. I had to sit down. Then I laid my head on the ground and somehow fell asleep. I woke up, back in my dad's truck. He said, hey, look who's up. We're almost at the camping spot. What? There was no way that was just a dream. It felt so real. The creature and everything. At that point, I knew this camping trip was a bad idea. But deep down, I knew I had to find Devin. Alright, here's a quick disclaimer. Sorry if it's really confusing. There's so many plot holes in this story. So I hope that you can follow along okay. And yeah, I also hope that you like it. There's 14 chapters, so I'll probably make like 7 videos and do 2 chapters per video. So thank you so much for watching. Bye!